it's the core of why, right? Like, why do we do this? Why do we want to do good? Why do we start businesses or concepts, or in my case, like a children's book series?
Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Elle Ballard. Welcome to the Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. Today, my guest is Maria Castellucci Moore. Hi Maria, welcome.
Hi, Elle. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. I'm excited for this conversation. And I want to introduce you first before we jump on. Maria Castellucci Moore is an award-winning author, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Co-founder of Castellucci Napa family, she blends passions for wine, arts, and global travel. A first generation American, mother of four, and advocate for community building, she actively supports the San Francisco Opera Guild and Roots of Peace, fostering global impact. Beautiful. Welcome.
Thank you, Elle.
Thank you for being one of our first guests this year, actually opening up this
Yeah.
beautiful year. And like, what
Yes.
brought you to do this work? Everyone has their own reasons when they start, and that's what
Yeah.
makes every one of us unique, right? And in choosing our path. But how about
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah, so a great question. So I would say as a young girl, I have always had a burning desire to make an impact, promote positive change, help people. It's always just been a part of my yearning, I think. And, then reality sets in and work and then marriage and then kids and the whole thing kind of, it's all wonderful.
Mm,
But I think
yes.
you have to come back to your true self, and I do. So I met Miss Heidi Kuhn, who's an incredible woman, and she's the founder and CEO of Roots of Peace. It's a global nonprofit organization that demines land in war-torn countries and replaces that with bountiful vineyards and fruit trees and orchards, and gives
Mm,
empowerment to the local community to therefore have their own
amazing.
economic prosperity. It's an incredible organization. So I kind of started with her. I would say I met her when I was in high school, like right before high school. And I was so moved. I mean, it's just, she's literally like the living Mother Teresa. So I stood by her side for as
Oh,
long as I could and kind of learned about, how world peace, how one person can actually really make a difference. So I think
yeah.
my heart expanded and opened with knowing her and working alongside of her. I would say then just my education. I studied global affairs and finance and business, and going into my family business after all the schooling that I did in London and living abroad. And so I kind of took everything that I love and I said, what could I possibly do with all of this goodness? So, bit by bit, I kind of, made the path, and I'm still on the journey. We never quite we never quite get off the get you're
Yeah,
never quite at your destination. I think if you're really doing the good work, your work is
it's
never
so
done.
true.
So
Yeah,
so
it's
so
so
yeah.
true.
So I have
That's
to
so
say you
true.
have to find your why in order
Yeah.
to really find success, or find good content to put out in the world. So I think
Mm,
having that why is what kind of ignites the fire.
that's
So
so beautiful. That's
mm.
so beautifully said. Thank you for sharing that. It's so,
Mm.
so true. But I think for a lot of us, such a great reminder, right? Just going back to our own truth
Yes.
first, and then
Yes.
everything opens up. That's so beautiful. Thank you. So on this journey, working and with the Roots of Peace organization and doing the work that you're doing, what are some of the lessons that you learned for yourself, and also being a woman in this space and building something on your own terms, according to your own truth as
Yes.
well? And you mentioned family and all these things that we have in life, and I can so relate. I'm also a mother myself, right? And
Yes.
now a grandmother. um,
Oh,
but just staying in our truth so that we can fulfill our own journey, our own truth, but also being able to contribute to our kids and grandkids. So what are
yes.
some of the lessons in your journey that you learned and that
So,
helped you? Hmm.
so many.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? I think we're constantly learning and growing, and that's really the
Yeah.
beauty of of the journey itself. I would say fulfillment and reward in connection is really the core. For me, it's
Hmm.
the core of why, right? Like, why do we do this? Why do we want to do good? Why do we start businesses or concepts, or in my case, like a children's book series? Why is that? And I think it's really through connection first with yourself. You have to be able to connect with yourself and the deeper world around you with others in order to really make that impact, to really make that change, to really make that positivity kind of go out into the world. So I think for me, I had to look back and say, well, why and where did this all come from? And I think it's truly through the beauty of connection, and that's the fulfilling piece for me.
Hmm.
So I learned to connect to myself way late in life. This is not a concept that was taught to me as an immigrant coming from an immigrant family who was, trying to make their way in a new country. So
Yeah.
my parents are Italian. So coming to America and building a life in a foreign country when they didn't know the language. And
Hmm.
so I picked up this kind of
Mm.
work ethic that I think if you're born in this country, perhaps it's something that's glazed over, or you come from, I think when you have an immigrant background and
For
mentality,
sure.
there's a certain level of, I don't want to use the word struggle, but there's a
Yeah.
certain level of grit to really go and make
Hmm.
something yours. And so I think that's kind of where some of this all came from. But truly, just to round it out, I think the connection piece is where I found a connection to myself. And I thought, oh wow, there's something deep to share when you can be mindful and connect to yourself, to the world around you, and really you can make something beautiful, simple, as simple or as grandiose as you want. But
Yeah.
I think through connection is where I found my why, my reason. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
mm,
that's beautiful. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm an immigrant, and there's definitely a lot of overcoming, right? And I think this whole conversation, I think, is a great start for the year again, as we are letting go of the old
yes,
across different parts of the world right now,
yeah,
as we are renewing ourselves, as we are entering this new era. It's part of the overcoming, but it's also part of the letting go, and going
100%.
back to your truth that you mentioned, living, and so it's in the relationship. One of the people that I met this year, at the beginning of this year, that I'm grateful for, because these
Oh,
conversations, they just come up.
well, I
I
think,
had a beautiful conversation yesterday with someone as well, and it's so wonderful that we are not going there, but we are going there, like in
yes,
in in the conversation.
I
Yeah.
really find that what I've learned basically through all of this too is that coming back to knowing your authentic self and having this
Yeah.
level of authenticity is what drives success. I think
Yeah.
whether it's a product or a person or a product, or people gravitate to what's real. And I think if you know
Hmm.
thyself, when a woman is in business, you're kind of selling yourself in so many ways, right? But so if you have a product or you're an influencer or wherever the world takes you, I think being authentic is what's unique to everyone.
Yeah.
And displaying that authentic self and having it out there is really what's
Hmm.
going to drive success. And that's what I've seen in not only my children's book series, but my wine business. And it's like when you're selling something that's unique to you and authentic to
Hmm.
you, that's where the success lies.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so true. So you mentioned children books. How
Yeah.
if one of our listeners, some of our listeners can get, those books, where can they get them? And we will post links as well on how to connect with you, or how to get
Yeah,
access to what
great.
you're doing. Hmm.
Yeah, so I developed a series called the Traveling Mindfulness Children's Book Series. And it
Hmm.
is a series that really honors the child, but it's really about the power of mindfulness and kind of waking up our five
Beautiful.
senses and experiencing the world around you through your God given senses. I was able to get my mindfulness certification this past year, and it's been so
Congratulations.
lovely. Thank you. It's been so lovely to really dive into that world and what does that mean? Because it's this big overarching subject that a lot of people don't know how to define, or what is it? How do you cultivate it? Where does it come from? It's like our superpower. It's like you can tap
Yeah.
into it at any moment. So kind of
Yeah.
like how we started our this beautiful talk, right? We took a
Yeah.
moment and we kind of slowed down, we centered ourselves and our focus. So that's what the book series is about. Each of
Mm.
my books honors each one of my four children. So I'm in
Oh,
two of
nice.
the four.
That is so
And
cool.
yeah, so it's about the child, it's specific to each child, of course, but they go through the city that it's all in a different city. So each book is in a city that I've either lived in or had a very personal experience in.
Mm.
So they journey through the streets to find what makes them feel alive. And it's about cultivating and discovering your own unique joy. And that's really through the power of mindfulness and using your five senses for that discovery. So it kind of mimics what I experienced as an adult. And I
Mm-hmm.
really was inspired to write this series so that I could inspire young children to kind of start that awareness, start that conversation
Yeah.
with a parent early so they don't have to wait until they're in their 40s like me.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, right?
mhm.
Yeah, me too. And how old they how like what are the ages for the
I would say the age
if
range,
kids are reading it? Hmm.
yeah, about 5 to 9 years old, I
Five to
would
nine.
say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and you can
Oh, how
purchase the book
beautiful.
on my website,
Okay.
mariacastelluccimoreauthor.com. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, where, your local bookstores. So yeah,
Amazing.
it's received, some wonderful media press and accolades and awards. And I just think it's an important topic that is
Yeah.
not really discussed between the parent and child. What does happiness look like? I learned it's not a one
Mm-hmm.
size fits all. It really
Yeah.
is unique to everyone, and it's not what our society tells you what happiness should look like. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I hope your listeners and people out there that are curious will pick up a copy. It's interesting for adults as well.
Yeah.
So
I'd
it's
love
a
to get a
fun,
copy for my grandchild as well. But yes,
absolutely.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What a beautiful yeah, I didn't even realize there is that part of it too. So
Thank you.
I'm glad we discussed it.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I do want to talk a bit about the winery, and I know that's something that you have recently started working on as well. If you could tell us a little bit more about
Yes,
that.
absolutely. So my parents immigrated here from southern Italy, and in their hometown, they actually went to first and second grade together. So my parents, it's a long, incredible, beautiful story. I'll shorten it for the sake of our conversation, but everyone in the hometown, made a barrel of wine in the basement, and that's just what they drank all
Mm,
winter long. And it was not, it was nothing more than just produced for the family. And so when my father came to America, he remembered that he used to stomp the grapes in a barrel when he was 8 years old. And he said, I want to continue this tradition. And so he bought his first property here in wine country. I'm in the California Napa Valley wine country, and in 1989. And so ever since then, we've been making wines. The brand now is a little more mainstream than it was back in the 90s, but now we have a beautiful Italian estate here in Napa Valley, and my latest concept is wine is such a community builder. I mean, talk about
hmm.
connection, right? It's like whenever
Yeah.
you're having wine, it's usually with friends, with family, there's an event or you're out, and it's something very spirited, but it drives connection. And so I thought,
Hmm.
gosh, my love of music, which that's another story if you have time, but I come from a very musical family, and so I thought, how can I make this even more of a sensorial experience than it already is. I mean, you go wine tasting where I live and you throw a rock and you hit another incredible bottle of wine. I mean, how can this be? So what sets you apart? And I thought, I truly discovered my own happiness journey by honing in on myself and my
Mm.
senses. And I thought, wine is such a sensorial experience. What if I paired wine with music as opposed to pairing wine with food, like most um,
Yeah.
of my colleagues do? And so this new concept we're coming out with this year is curated music, live and not live, but paired with our new releases. So we have
Oh, how
an
cool.
yeah, so we have an estate rosé. We're making a French barrel aged Sauvignon Blanc and two reds, one Cabernet, like a more boutique lot Cabernet, and then one is a blend. So, anyways, these four wines are really going to speak to the sensorial experience through music.
Mm.
I play classical piano, so do my children. Then my
Me
father sings the
too. I play
guitar. My
pianos.
mother learned the
That is so
accordion. I
cool.
mean, we're like
Musical
the
family.
family band, yeah. And so I thought, um,
Wow.
and my connections with the San Francisco Opera, it was kind of a no-brainer that this was the
Mm.
direction to go.
Yeah.
And so our wines are all named after Italian musical terms. We have a beautiful estate here in Oakville that we, grow the wonderful fruit, and it's really a blessing not only to be in a family business, but going back to authenticity and your roots and showcasing to the world this is who we are. I mean, I think it doesn't get any more beautiful than that. So so
I
that's
love
that's
it.
that project that the world doesn't know about yet, but now they do.
I love it so much. Pairing wine with music. What a
Yes, and
great
I have
idea.
some incredible opera singers and pianists we've already done
Wow.
musical tastings, and it has just been it just heightens the whole experience of what you're tasting. So it's
So
really
is it
beautiful.
sold with music? The
Uh,
bottle, or
no, so
I'm not
as
sure
of
if you're able to tell more,
yeah,
but
yeah. So our tasting experience, it's not fully dialed in yet, but we do have events throughout the year where people will come and we have live music paired with our
hmm
wines.
hmm
And then our tasting experience will also fold in all of those elements too. Yeah, there's a lot
I
to
love it.
unpack there. That's its own podcast.
Yes, yes.
But
Well, I'd love to stop by and maybe we could, meet you in person, have a glass
I
of
would love
wine.
it. I would
Because
love that.
I'm in San Ramon area, so but beautiful, beautiful.
I would
Yes,
love that.
thank you for sharing that, and what a beautiful idea. And I love, love, love the just a life example of following your authentic truth, right?
Yes.
And incorporating the music from the family and your roots for the wine and everything encompassing.
You know when something's
I love that.
synergistic, like you can't even plan this stuff? That's
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I feel like the universe has a way of laying out what you are ready to experience,
hmm
and the timing, it's actually not on our time. It's already set for us. And so being open to that is first knowing what you are, who you are, who's your audience, right? I mean, in business, you are appealing to those other than yourself. And so, but to really sell that product or to really put out something in the world that means something or creates change, you have to kind of be that change. You know the quote,
Yeah.
be the change you wish to see in the
Busy
world.
change you in.
That,
Yes.
yeah, it's like that. And so
hmm
that's where the, impactful moment comes. And so this was really something like, oh, it was the aha for me. It
I
was
love it.
not something,
So beautiful.
it
Yeah.
was it was less factual and like pen to paper numbers than it was really just something that felt right.
Yeah. And that's
Hmm.
such a thank you for inspiring all of us here with this example, because I think it will help our listeners also understand, when you are wanting something, it's not a mistake, right? And I'm having goosebumps
Well, and
speaking,
all
but
and
if there's
all of
something
our
calling you, yeah,
it's calling you, but also I think especially for women because we are
yes,
sorry for our lovely husbands, boyfriends, friends, but women are more intuitive than men, period. End of
mm-hmm,
story, in my opinion.
yeah,
Right? We
yes,
feel, I don't want to say more, but sometimes we embody more emotion than our male counterparts. And so I think honing in and tuning in and trusting, like it's like, that phrase, like trust your gut. I think it's a
yep,
female thing to be able to trust because we are in a male dominated society. So I
mm-hmm,
think just
mm-hmm,
trusting and having kind of that authentic trust in yourself, then everything else will fall into place. It's like
yeah,
everything else will unfold in the way that it was intended to unfold.
mm-hmm, yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
Hmm.
I love that. So again, we will post all the information on how to connect or how to find out more
That sounds great.
about Maria. And with that, I'd like to move into the questions, the 5 questions, if you're ready.
Please. I'm ready. I don't know what I'm ready for, but I'm ready.
Awesome, awesome. Your favorite book name is?
My favorite book name, like a real book that's out there or like a book in my mind? Because I have many books written in my mind already that have not been published yet.
Whatever comes. Yes, 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 yes. Whatever comes to your mind
Come to
first.
mind would be the magic.
Is a
Be
magic.
the
Hmm.
magic because we are all magical.
Magic. Yes, yes. Love that. Beach or mountains?
I would say beach. Only I love the mountains. I love nature, but I don't know how to ski, and I'm not a big cold weather person. So I would
Mm,
say
yeah.
mountains in the summer would be excellent. And even beach and then beach in the winter. I'll flip it. I'll do both, but I'm not a big skier. I don't know how to ski. My kids love to ski. I have no idea how to ski. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm not either. Favorite international destination to visit?
to where I've been or where I would like to go.
I guess either
I'll
one.
give you both. So my favorite place that I've ever been to is I love Paris.
Oh,
I'm a
me
I'm
too.
a Francophile. I
I've
absolutely love Paris. My first children's book was Vivian in Paris. So Paris,
oh,
I was engaged to be married in the city of Paris. It's my favorite city
beautiful.
in the world. I would say my top bucket list destination is Southeast Asia. Never been to Asia and
Never been
dying to
myself
visit.
as well. Yeah.
Really, really, really
Yeah.
looking forward to visit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Hmm.
Summer or winter?
Oh my
Summer or
gosh,
winter?
for different reasons. I mean, summer where I live is too hot and I don't love the heat. There's something cozy about winter too. I don't know. For this one, I'm going to say summer. I'm going to say summer. I'm
Okay.
going to say like take on, like unleash the beast and
Yeah.
and be free.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
summer. Hmm.
Okay. And the final question is things that you have discovered about yourself recently.
Oh my gosh.
Things that you have discovered about yourself recently.
I love hanging out by myself. I always was a
Mm,
people person and I always love to have company and I recharge around people. My husband always says you're a total extrovert, but I've actually
yeah.
loved my introverted time lately.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have.
I can definitely relate
Yeah.
as well.
The bath,
Awesome.
candles, reading, all
Yeah.
those things, or like watching a really good show and not needing anyone around has been
Yeah.
a refreshing discovery for me. So,
Yeah. That's
hmm
awesome.
hmm
That's awesome. I can definitely relate. And thank you so much for playing.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
So much fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, and anything else before we conclude? And like I said, we will post the links and information on how to connect with you. Thank you so much for taking the time for this
Thank you,
conversation.
Elle. This
Really
was
enjoyed
so
it,
fun.
and
Well,
looking forward to meeting you.
likewise, reach out. I'm always here for a glass of wine, a children's book, tea.
I love
All
it.
the things, all the things. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Maria. Happy New
Thanks,
Year.
Elle. To you too.